you. How good were the two of you, Priyanka and Adil, when it came to exams?
The thing is, I was always very well prepared much before the exams. So by the end, I was just like too overconfident sometimes. But just before the exams, like it was just really, really terrible for me. Like I have some deep anxieties from there. But genuinely, it's just the excitement of exams and the prep and everything I really loved a lot. But genuinely, I used to be like all over the place just before the real thing had to start. So that's normally the case with me in life.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody. What about you, Adil sir?
First of all, I would like to denounce Shubham as our son, Bulbul, because he likes exam. I hated exam. He's not my son at all.
I like it because I score good enough. That's why.
Okay.
Wow.
There was a meme that said that we in our time, that is Priyanka and Adil sir's time, we used to get in Celsius. 36.4, 40.4. You guys get in Fahrenheit. 99.4, 96.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another scene only right now.
And it's a completely different thing. See, so I mean, coming to this movie, Pareeksha, how it's a very important, subject to focus on because, our education system is such. So what were your reasons to say yes to this movie? So should I start with the young man?
Well, the story was very interesting, to be honest, and it was compared to real life, like how a normal student like me or any other student would suffer from. So I was very interested, and I was actually surprised also when he asked me to do the role. So I was like, why not? Of course.
What about you? Since you're one of the central protagonists, because it's your characters fight, and it's a real life story to make the young man's dream come true.
Are you asking me?
Yes, I'm asking.
I think the mother played by Priyanka, Radhika, and we both as a couple who suffer, who suffered so much in order to give the education or impart the education that we thought will take us out of the rut of this poverty-stricken family, and which is the case across the country. And I have personally seen, including me. I mean, I was not as bad in terms of economically. Our family was not that bad, but my father always struggled to pay school fees for 4 of his sons. I wouldn't have been sitting and talking to you, Puja, here unless it was the entire education from pre-primary, primary, higher secondary, National School of Drama, and England went to study, all were free. I did not pay anything except for examination fees and admission fees, which are very minimal anyways. So I wouldn't have been sitting here and talking to you. And there are millions of Adils and Bulbuls, the character name in the film, in our country, and we deprive our country from tapping this amazing pool of talent that we have in India. So I think it is very, very pertinent, and it will always be pertinent till India really takes a plunge into investing a substantial amount of GDP's amount into education system and health sector, because that is the primary. We create the future of our country in the pre-primary and primary school. That is the most important age of a human being to learn and to choose and to find and to explore their own tendencies and their area of interest. So for me, it's a very, very important film. And when Prakashji told me to play the lead role, one of the lead roles, and I said, absolutely. I mean, no question about it.
Priyanka, what about you?
Prakashjha's office called me, and obviously he was in, my list of directors to work with. Definitely, all his female actors, characters have had such good agencies in all his films that it was a no-brainer for me to go and hear the narration. But around that time, I was getting the same kind of offers, so I had to be really clear about what I was going to say yes to. So I insisted on the script, and I knew that I was in good hands, working with Adil and everything. And there was something about the subject that really struck a chord with me because, genuinely I'm trying and it's happening intuitively, or whether there is a master plan or what, I wouldn't know. But genuinely what's happening is because I'm trying to mold the meaning of my life, the existential question of my life. What's happening is intuitively my trajectory is being filled with things that has some meaning to the present scenario, and to be a part of that, and to have access to that platform to talk about something so important right now, which is the system which needs a lot of light. Like Adil said, the mathematics needs to be correct about where the funds are going, and seriously, it has to be a microscopic, like attention on where the money is going. To be very honest, and education and healthcare system right now has to be absolutely prime focus. So I'm really happy as an artist, as an actor. I just feel we get a lot of importance, but the thing is, the light has to be shining in the right place. So we have this platform where we can create and co-create with like-minded people and make the right noise about what's important.
And Shubham, the character you play, he is very different from your reality. I mean, did you realize something that, our parents, when we were growing up, would always tell us, study hard. There are many who are struggling to get the same, perks as you. And did that ever come to mind that there are many who are not so fortunate to what we think is easily accessible to us? Did that ever strike you?
Well, personally, like my real life and this movie, it's almost similar. Like I also live in a, you can say in the slums, basically. And I still go to an international school and all that. My parents are struggling the same way like Bucci was doing for his son. So when I heard the story, I was like, yeah, I have to do this because this is how, I have lived these years. So it's the perfect opportunity for me. And I every day think that there are many students, like even right now in Bihar and everywhere, who do not get enough, like, things to work with. Like in school, they don't get enough books, they don't get enough facilities which we international student kids get. So it was a good idea to do at that time.
Wow. Amazing,
Yeah.
Shubham. I'm really very proud of you also. And whatever I could see from the trailer, you've done a fabulous job. And
Thank you.
also, as you said about commercials, Prakashjha is one person who is not dominated by commercials. He makes films with his heart in it. He wants to tell a story, which is very different from the kind of how people define Bollywood, which is all commercially and dictated by box office. What would you want to say, the two of you?
Is that a question?
That's a question, yeah. I mean, what's your take on it? Because there are very few directors like
Yes.
Prakashjha who just want to tell good stories, commercial.
Yes. I mean, right from the beginning of his career, I've seen, Damul is one of the most beautiful films made in India. And that makes him, a completely different kind of a filmmaker. And what I like about also the attitude with which he tells a story is of an observer. He doesn't really pass a judgment about the subject. He just tries to sort of put forth the facts. So this is what is happening. This is what is happening. And it's you, the audience, who has to decide what is your opinion on this and act accordingly. That's one of the, I guess, he also says this. I mean, he calls himself the drashta, the one who sees. And he also, I guess, takes the role of Sanjay in Mahabharata, who tells the story to, Dhritarashtra. who doesn't have the eyes. It's very metaphorical. That the audience members, they're busy with their own lives, and the job of a filmmaker or a practitioner of art is to allow the audience to see something from a little higher perspective, higher in a sense like a macro perspective than, because the audience members are busy in the micro of the existence. They're fighting for their livelihoods and, family and other onslaughts of everyday life. And so our job is to make sure that when they come to see a movie or hear, a beautiful piece of music, they are elevated and help them see the macro picture a little bit. And I guess Prakashji kept doing that in different ways. He started with very small films, and now he has started taking, all sorts of sort of big names. And he had spoken on all kinds of subjects from Arakshan to, all political issues. And this one, he chose education as a subject and talked about it. And I'm glad that this will be seen, across 190 countries at the click of a mouse or whatever finger.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible right now. I mean, I know a lot of people were, it's a very new system right now. There will be no premiere, the theater release and then going into OTT. But right now, with just a click of a button, it reaches out 190 countries. Like my friends in Toronto are wondering how to watch this film, and so it's really refreshing that it has that kind of outreach right now, where a simple film like this is going to reach out. So this is a very exciting and positive way forward, I feel, for a film like this.
Yeah.
And Shubham, tell me, are you excited about the digital release, and are you also going through online classes? Are you enjoying that process?
Well, about the digital release, I'm actually excited because now all of my friends can watch wherever they are. And about online classes, I just passed my 10th standard, so I'm waiting for the online forms.
Wow, well done, well done. Yeah. But imagine, even students everything is online, but there are many who don't have access to these iPads and iPhones, so one wonders what happens to them,
Yeah.
Also, it's an interesting thing about this movie is one's talent versus one's dream. So how difficult is it in the industry that you are in, for talent versus dreams to, talent to be recognized and dreams to be fulfilled?
Me?
I'm asking Adil sir.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you dream with a lot of sincerity, honesty, and if you have taken satisfaction and you have found an intrinsic joy just by practicing the craft, in terms of acting, especially if you are talking about acting, because we are actors only, we can talk about from our perspective. And I didn't mind acting in my living room and inviting 5 friends to watch my play. That had kept me happy for a long time, And if you want to make it to films and you want to become famous and you want to have names, then that's a different thing completely. Because I believe that if you are deeply in love with what you do, if it is not even recognized for a long, long time, just because you love it, what you do, will keep you in a state of quiet joy. And then on top of that, if you get recognized, if you have name, and those become like desserts, because you are already filled with this, wonderful meal that you have because you're practicing the craft of acting. And then on top of that, you get paid. Oh, I'm getting paid for this? Wow, that's fantastic. So that's my personal view. But the downside of this view is that you stop caring about the other people, like what they like, what they don't like. And there is a tendency and danger to become pretty arrogant. The downside of the other view, those who want to be famous and all that, the downside of that you might not get famous. You might be might not get the chances that you think you deserve, then, and you will be rejected hundreds of times. To deal with those emotions are difficult things. So that's the time I keep telling my students, I keep teaching at the National School of Drama, I keep saying that, are you ready not to be recognized and not to be paid for next 20 years? And that will be a test for your love, that is acting, that you say you love acting. Then you would know whether you really love, or you have an infatuation, or you have a crush. If you really do love, then you would love unconditionally, no matter what happens, whether you are recognized or not.
Absolutely. And I watched one of your plays at home with Royston Abel back in the day, 90s. So Priyanka, tell me about it. Do you also now feel, as we were talking about talent, recognition of talent in the industry, there's a whole lot of talk happening. And also now the whole thing has changed. Like, it's at the end of the day, the audience to get good content and to embrace that instead of just watching these star-driven vehicles. What do you have to say about that?
See, first of all, it's been quite a journey for me personally. I have had my fair share of rejection and the part and parcel of not being able to accept, a lot of things. And, luckily for me, I have had, emotional support from family or say friends or colleagues and everything to just, keep moving on, because, you don't let go of few things, but you move on. And in that process, you learn grace and you learn so much about life. But I will have to say that Bollywood is not writing any trajectories right now for, a lot of actors, because universally, if you see, everything is very global at the moment. The fact that someone like me can get, plethora of work, which is not just into typecasting. I mean, I have complained so much about the same kind of work that I've got, because I think I have range, and the thing is, I was done shouting about it and I had to do something about it. So when I did do something about it, then I'm getting the offers that I truly think I deserve. And so Bollywood is not writing a trajectory, and I should be an example of that. And the thing is, no, a work is big or small. So, and right now with OTT and then so many other ways, just the process of filmmaking is so fascinating that you get to learn from so many people. So if you just want to close yourself into thinking that there is only one agency or one, one little unit that is going to give work to so many of us, then I'm telling you, you're completely delusional. You have to break out of that. You have to open up and I can tell you it will get difficult. I've borrowed money, I've begged people, but I have had to, make these opportunities for myself. And you have to just have a way of just, pushing through your own boundaries and your own fears, and to understand that there are so many possibilities how you can make this work.
Yep.
And Adil, what would you want to say? Will these big little murmurs lead to a big bang, or will it just die without a whimper?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
All the murmurs that we are hearing, change the star system, make it equal, make it more democratic. Do you think these murmurs will lead to a big bang, or will it just be a whimper that will just slide away?
Well, I hate to say, but I guess I must say what I believe in. And evolution is a very slow process. It's not only about Bollywood. The Bollywood people, they are not from Mars, they are from Earth. And they're a product of our society. And our society is patriarchal. Our society is feudal. They believe in hierarchy deeply. Even in our houses, we see how we treat our people, those who come to work for us, the driver, the person who opens the door. So those hierarchies will be there. It's a very, very judgmental society that we live in. We have amazing, beautiful things as well at the same time. We are filled with amazing wisdom that had been, we have inherited from our thousands of years of practice of mysticism and spirituality. But still, evolution is a very painfully slow process. What has happened now, the discussion, these are I say that evolution is a spiral climb. It's not a climb like a ladder. This kind of ladder is a spiral climb. We go through the same process. Seems like we're going through the same process, but every time we climb up a little bit, we manage to see the flaws a little bit, and we manage to sort of unbind ourselves and go a little farther. So it will not fizzle out, but it will not be a revolutionary radical change. Or maybe it will be, because this is a big slap on humanity, on our arrogance, COVID-19. All the world leaders are on their knees. They have no clue what to do, including the most richest and the, nation on the earth are like, hey, what's going on? And all the scientists are still figuring it out, how a tiny little thing can bring the entire humanity on their knees. So this could be a big slap. It's like nature is trying to tell you, nudge you slowly, okay, wake up, and then gives a little harder nudge, like, hey, wake up, then a slap, then a punch, then a kick. It seems like a kick on our face, the COVID-19 crisis, and the climate crisis is still coming in. So maybe it is a process that, and also in Indian mysticism, it's called churning, Samudra Manthan.
Yeah.
So Manthan is happening, and all the dirt and the filth are coming out from across the globe, and hopefully one day we'll be able to taste elixir. And I'm hopeful, optimistic, but I'm not a fool to take it as there will be a radical shift immediately.
Shubham, you want to act or do you want to pursue something else? As you heard, it's not an easy place. A lot of struggle.
I'll still act because, as Sir said, if you love it, you pursue it.
Awesome. And lastly, Star Trek 3. Looking forward to that. Can you tell us a bit?
No, I can't. I can just say whatever you've seen on the trailer, if you've seen the trailer, that it is a very emotional part. And most of my part is with the star of the Star Trek, Sonequa Martin Green. And the best thing is that when they introduced me to the whole family of Star Trek actors and cast and crew, they asked me that, would you have to say something? I said, well, I was born in a town where newspapers used to come 3 days later, and now I'm crossing the galaxy. So anybody who dreams, you're talking about dreams, anybody who can dream and are born in a smallest of town in Assam, which is the most neglected part of the country, and in the most neglected town of Assam, if I can cross the galaxies, anybody can. But you have to dream hard, believe in yourself, and put all your hard work, and you have to keep the smile in your heart. And if you do love it, you will keep the smile on.
Thank you very much. And Priyanka, last words from you. I mean, what next? What can we expect from you now?
Sorry, say again.
Now, as we wrap up, what can we expect next from you now? How was the lockdown?
I mean, past 3 years, I really worked all across the globe, and a lot of my other films are coming out as well, one after the other. So it's really cheering me up because, the ebb and flow of this whole quarantine really got into the depths of like who we are as people also, and what our little things are. So I'm really grateful that I got this time to myself and with my family, but irrespective of that, to just be inside. So in that deep search, I got into a really interesting space where, I completely detached myself from work, like the rest of us. And I'm like, right now, I don't think that's important to, promote myself or anything. So I went through that route. But at the same time, I was really grateful that a lot of things were coming out. So there's Mortal, which I shot in Norway, which is an American English film. That's coming out in the UK and the US. Then there's Pareeksha, of course. There's Sadak 2, which is coming out as well. And then, The Wheel of Time is like another international series, which is coming out next end of this year at some point. So it's been quite a blessing.
Awesome.
So before you finish it, I would like to say to the audience that this is one of the most important film of our lives, because it's on education, and it's going to release on the 6th of August. Please tune in to Z5.
And Shubham, jate, one message you want to tell all the educationists, what do you want to see changed in the education system? One thing.
Shubham.
The one thing which I would like to see change in the education system is how the teachers or anybody basically who is on a higher post differentiates between the ones who have the ability to pay the fees and the ones who can't.
Yes. Very true. I think it should be actually in all areas of our life. This always happens. Thank you so much. But well, if it's the youth speaking up, may your voice be heard and may you be strong. Thank you so much, because we are all dependent on the youth. Thank you so much. All the very best. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, babe.